Welcome back. 50 women representing various parts of South Sudan's uniformed security sectors have met at a two-day workshop in the capital, Juba. A chart a way forward on how to combat various forms of gender-based violence in the country. The participants were from various organized forces comprising the South Sudan National Police Service, the Prison Service, the Fire Brigade, the Wildlife Services, and the Immigration. Some speakers focused on South Sudan's 35% affirmative action for women under the revitalized peace process and talked about various ways of combating different forms of gender-based violence.
Police environment is majority male, and I'm talking about even from my country is a majority male, so we have that male idea. So to put the female officers, to fight for their rights is not so easy, because there's sometimes this cultural barrier that we needed to go through, and sometimes the culture is really hard to cross. So because of that, I think that we have a longer process to go through, but we can do this. It's not impossible.
Police Commissioner United, they have a very big role to play in combating gender-based violence. You know, the victims of gender-based violence, who are mainly women, sometimes they have confidence in women like them. So if they deal with those victims will be much more open than when they are interviewed or investigated by male police.
Once they engage in the community activities, it will mean that it will be like a bushfire, because every woman will be determined maybe to reach out to 2 or 10 women at a go. Therefore, by the time before we realize, we will know that each and every woman in South Sudan has gotten information on how they can protect themselves from this harmful practice of sexual and gender-based violence within the society.
3 men have been found guilty of charges relating to the Garissa University attack on Kenya in 2015. Rashid Mbarasero, Muhammad Abikar, and Hassan Edin Hassan were found guilty of conspiracy to commit the attack, in which 4 gunmen killed 148 people, mainly students. They were also found guilty of belonging to the Al-Shabaab Islamist militant group. A 4th man, Sahal Diri Hussein, was acquitted of the charges. Al-Shabaab, a group affiliated to Al-Qaeda, claimed responsibility for the attack at the Northeast Kenyan University in April 2015. Some lighter stories now. Here in Africa, the huge dry hair market of weaves, extensions, and wigs crafted from everything from synthetic fiber to human or yaki hair is worth billions of dollars. Tanzania's government has announced a 25% tax on dry hair imports, which has women and the industry holding up in arms.
The dust is still settling across various economic sectors after budgets were read across East Africa last week. There's still a lot of buzz in Tanzania, especially over the Tanzanian government's decision to impose a tax increase on wigs and hair extensions. The announcement by Finance Minister Philip Mpango was met with jeers at the thumping of desks in Parliament. The 25% tax on imported wigs and hair extensions and a 10% tax on those made locally is part of a series of measures aimed at increasing government revenue. Importers, retailers, hairdressers and the women who are their clientele say the new tax is devastating on several levels and in a variety of ways.
I am a customer. If the price of wigs rises, it will affect us. Wigs from abroad are expensive, and if the tax is raised, it means that we won't be able to afford to look beautiful. I think the government should leave it alone. Leave the original cost as it is so we can afford to be beautiful. Women have to care about their looks, and if we cannot afford to do so, then we are not attractive.
If the tax is raised, there won't be enough work for us. This is the only. We have employed ourselves. We leave our homes to come to do this work. So if I lose my customers, it will affect me a lot, because this is where I get my daily bread. I would advise the government that the tax should remain the same for the artificial hair made locally, but they can raise the tax on hair made abroad.
Zuhura, a hairdresser in the Mwenge, a popular spot for hairdressers in Dar es Salaam, suggested an alternative target for the government's levy.
They should have put the tax increase on alcohol and not on hair, because alcohol creates more problems. People get addicted. It disrupts families. So they should have placed the increase there on the alcohol and left the hair so we can continue working and getting clients.
East Africa's third-largest economy is hungry for funds as it's investing heavily in public infrastructure projects.
Scientists happy to finding the quirkiest ideas in even the simplest things. Now, who knew wood and syringe could help make a mini excavator? Who knew? 15-year-old Hope Frank has built his own manual mini excavator using wood and syringes. This comes as Frank hopes to work with companies that manufacture building equipment one day.
At a neighborhood in Uyo, southern Nigeria, Hope Frank is showcasing his latest invention, a mini excavator, manually controlled using syringes, plungers and wires. Neighbors watch as he uses syringes as hydraulics to get his homemade excavator to scoop sand and dump it. He says he started tinkling with different electronic gadgets at the tender age of 5, leading him to create a toy helicopter, then a mini grader using an old laptop battery.
I like creation. I like people who are inventors. So I did the Untitled practicum because from what I know, they said that inventors tried for many times and still failed. I did that, but I still failed. I did this for 1 year before I succeeded it.
Frank's latest invention has made him the talk of the neighborhood, where some have been known to gift him small amounts of money as a sign of their support.
They tell me about this small boy. Say he's trying to fix the excavator.
They told me this boy is trying to build an excavator. This is something that I see in Europe, and I'm now seeing it here. So I'm very grateful and happy for this boy.
Who dreams of working with a top engineering company one day, is already working on his next invention, a helicopter controlled by a wireless remote.
Just wow. That's Network Africa. Thanks for watching. I am Amarachi Ubani.